Alrighty, so this is the breakdown of men and women's Olympic vaults. This is your CEU video. So, what is vault? You've seen examples of this in the Olympics. Basically, the performer or the athlete is running up a pathway. They're doing a explosive movement where they leap onto this apparatus called the vault. They springboard themselves up. They perform some sort of aerialist movement, and then they land on their feet on a landing pad. So there are multiple phases of this sport. You have the pre-flight phase, you have the contact phase where they meet the springboard apparatus, the post-flight phase, and the landing phase where you land straight on your feet with stumbling as minimally as possible. So there are two different forms of scoring for this sport. You have the D score and you have the E score. So think of the D score as the judges are judging the creativity of your aerial movement, and the E score, they are judging the technicality of your movement. So you have the difficulty score, how difficult was the creativity of your movement, the execution score, did you do everything by the numbers as you should. Physical demand. So you have sprint training. This is going to improve your run up speed because you need a lot of velocity, a lot of momentum to get as high as you can to perform that movement and then land strongly. Strength conditioning. You need to be strong. Your upper extremities, the lower extremities, definitely your core strength when you're running, catapulting, flipping in the air, and then landing properly. Key performance indicators of the sport include the takeoff, the approach run to the springboard apparatus or the vault, the flight, the post flight landing, and mobility are all important factors of the sport. You have physiological demands of vault, including body positioning, balance, sprinting, impact absorption, and explosiveness. So this is a chart that I found in one of the case studies. It is basically a breakdown of the technicality of the sport and how you train for it. So how's your velocity? Do you need improvement? Yes, keep going. Do you need to improve the sprint velocity of your athlete? Yes, you absolutely do. Also, reactive strength. So when you meet that vault, it is considered plyometric because you have to be less than point third of a second, 0.3 of a second. When you meet it and explode upward, how are you with that reactive strength and speed? And also physical preparation, your core strength, your ability to land and your body's ability to absorb that impact as you land so you do not stumble. Common limitations, some common injuries. Of course, you have ligament sprains of the upper extremities like the shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Joint dislocations are unfortunately all too often. You have muscle strains, tendonitis, ankle and foot sprains, ACL injuries, back muscle strains, ligament strains, sprains, and stress fractures, and unfortunately, disorders of the back. So there are multiple phases that I would put this athlete through, starting off the general preparation phase. This is where you can really build up their strength. You're not compromising their performance as they're doing the sport because they are not in season. So the goal is to increase overall strength to body weight ratio, muscular endurance, and build joint stability. You want to increase the strength and hypertrophy of their lower body with using such as goblet squats, Romanian deadlifts, and Bulgarian split squats, which I'll show you examples of that in a little bit. You want to increase the strength and hypertrophy of their upper body as well. So you have weighted pull-ups, bench press, handstand holds, push-ups, and also core stability. So you have some fairly unique ab exercises that you can perform, but you can always go with the old faithful, some planks, some leg raises, all that good stuff, whatever strengthens your core overall. So late off season, so we're still in off season, but we're approaching preseason. So you have the goal is to convert general strength into maximal explosive power and refined technique at low risk because you want to reduce uh, possible injury at all costs. So here's where you really want to develop their speed. You have them run 30 meters to 50-meter sprint training to improve maximal run up velocity up towards the vault. Also, speed drills that you can work on velocity and reaction. Plyometric ramp up, so you have low impact plyometrics like pogos, bouncing your feet up like this, and low hurdle hops, progressing to higher impact depth jumps and rebounding block drills because your body has to learn how to absorb that impact cleanly. Pre-season, the goal is training movements must mimic the speed and force production required for vault. So now we're getting to sport-specific movement. You have Olympic lifting variations. Olympic lifting variations are very important for the sport because that is where you're going to get uh, ballistic plyometric measures into your workout routine. And with this specific sport, vault, it's one of the best examples of a plyometric sport that I can think of. You're literally speeding, sprinting to the vault, exploding, and then landing. So all that eccentric, nope, yep, all that concentric landing right there, we just have to absorb the impact and come back to a standing position. This is where you train for all that good stuff. So you also have maximal sprinting, so you really have to get the sprints down pat. In season, we don't want no injury, we don't want to overdo it. Strength and power maintenance, we just want to maintain. Continue with low repetitions, high weight efforts for foundational lifts like squats, cleans, and pressing, just like once or twice a week. Explosive circuits, you want to incorporate high intensity, short duration power circuits and core and form shaping. Again, you need a strong, hardy core muscle group to absorb impact and also do your aerialist movement in the air to where you can perform specific choreography and not look like you're out of control. So some training strategies. We're going to focus on strength training, Olympic lifts, and ballistic and plyometrics. I've gone over why all this is important, but just to reiterate, you're incorporating foundational exercises to build overall muscle mass and strength in the legs. You need that to explode upward. Olympic lifts, power cleans, and snatches are excellent for teaching athletes how to generate force quickly through triple extension, mimicking the powerful push-off in the vault. And then you have ballistics and plyometrics, which I keep repeating. These drills enhance explosive power and the ability to rapidly absorb and reapply force. Now, I have some video examples of some movements that I performed here. So in the warm-up, you're going to have multi-planar movement. So you want a sagittal plane, frontal plane, transverse plane to get you ready for the further movements. So here's some more examples. And as for the movements in the sagittal plane, the push jerk, a bit of frontal plane with my legs going out, but that's because I have a personal injury. Force production, vertical force production is very important for the vault athlete. As they meet the vault, they can explode upward, do their stunt, and then land specifically in one position. There we go. Other examples I have here are the Bulgarian split squats. Don't mind my no way again, rehabbing a personal injury, but keeping it in the sagittal plane, building strength, a bit of hypertrophy. Yeah. And to cap it all off, here we have the CEU quiz based off the content that I just shared with you. So I'll just run through the questions. Number one, what is the primary purpose of the run-up phase in the Olympic vault? What does the difficulty score reflect? What is a key performance indicator, or KPI, of the sport mentioned in my document? What is the goal during the off-season or the general preparation phase? Which of the following moves is invalid in men's gymnastics vault according to the document that I've shared? Which exercises are listed as part of the lower body or vault power phase during the off-season? During the late off-season, speed, power, and technical refinement phase, what type of plyometrics are used initially? What is the primary goal of in-season training? Which of the following is listed as a common injury in gymnastics? And number 10, in women's gymnastics, which type of takeoff or landing is prohibited? So with these CEU questions, I went over a lot of this in the actual presentation, but I'll also be adding the document in which I built my presentation off of, so you can read off of that, study, and answer these questions. My name has been Chaz Dunn, and thank you for watching.